All right. Hey, everybody. Rick Herrera with US Mortgage. Thanks for joining us today. And I have the rock star credit specialist, Miss Micah Curtis. Micah, thanks for joining.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And one of the questions we got this week, talking to a borrower, looking over credit, and what do we have to do when there's a collection on the credit report? Is it correct to pay it off, not pay it off? What advice do you give and why?
Yes, this is such a good question and something that we all need to know because every person that I speak to has a question on this or they have done it wrong. So
Mhm.
generally speaking, and I would say about 98% of the time, it's not advantageous to pay a collection. So when I teach credit, I tell people take common sense and throw it out the window because common
Mm.
sense does not apply. So what happens is when you pay a collection, it doesn't go away. All it does, so there's a little acronym on the credit report, which is DLA. DLA stands for date of last activity. So let's pretend we have a 3-year-old collection and it's $20. It's doing less damage the older it gets. But once you satisfy that collection and you bring it down to a $0 balance, the misconception is that it goes away. It doesn't go away. All it does is it updates the date of last activity so it looks current on the credit report. So now the scores have dropped, and now you have a satisfied collection that's going to stay on the report another 7 years from the date of satisfaction. So obviously, what a company like mine goes in and does is we help remove derogatories from the report completely with the balance. But every once in a while, I might see something that will be advantageous to pay off. And one of those things is generally a credit card. So if you have a credit card that has defaulted and it's become a charge off, most oftentimes I'm going to guide a client on how to take care of that situation because the interesting thing about credit cards is you and I both know they look at the balance to limit ratio on our credit
Mhm.
cards and they either give us points or they take them away. Well, when a credit card is in collections, 99% of the time, I see that the balance is over the limit. And so that's still being weighed against you in your credit score. So when a client actually satisfies a credit card collection, it actually helps the score more than it hurts it. And more often than not, I'm seeing that those credit cards can turn into judgments and people will have notices from the courts. So it's one of those things where definitely just reach out when you have questions. That's what I'm here for. But for a good rule of thumb, it's a good idea just to leave the collection alone because you'll often do more harm than good.
Well, great answer. And I guess my biggest takeaway was if you're not sure, reach out to Micah.
Love it. That's a
All right.
great takeaway.
Well, thanks for joining us today. We'll have another credit tip next week.
Thank you.
So